All right, Miss Ruffin, I feel like it's time to shine.
All right, all right. Well, today we have a special guest joining us, a distinguished mobile home dealer who has been instrumental in shaping the mobile home market in our region here in North Carolina. With years of experience under his belt, he knows the ins and the outs of this industry, and he's navigated the complexities of the mobile home investing and mobile home sales and has a wealth of knowledge to share with us tonight. So I present to you Mr. Robert Bulla of Clayton Homes.
Nice to meet y'all. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. So, Robert, if you will give us
Hold up,
a
hold up, hold up. That was an amazing intro.
I agree.
That was amazing. Now you can get right back to it. I had to acknowledge that. Great job.
thank you, thank you, thank you very much. But Robert, I want to introduce to you because he's tapped into everybody else, but this is Brad. And you must be doing something, Brad, because you're not on video. But Brad is
Yeah.
this group, the mobile homepreneurs, was created by him. His inspiration to help mobile home investors, newbies, grow in mobile home investing. And he's tapped into several of our coaches, Danny Hicks, Jose Garcia, Mark Anthony, and myself as admin into us to help groom newbies nationally. This isn't just North Carolina, but this group is a national group from the West Coast to the East Coast, from the North to the South. So I just wanted to introduce you to Brad because that's his voice. He's the dream behind all of this.
Man, I appreciate that so much. What's up, Robert? Let's get straight to it. I love Clayton Homes. What we doing?
Yes. So will you tell us some about who you are, what you do, what your passion is, and then I will follow that up with a few questions that I have, and then we'll follow that up with questions from our students that are on this Zoom.
Sure. Um, I am currently one of the managers here at the Raleigh Sales Center for Clayton Homes. I got here 20 years ago, um, and we've basically have been one of the leading stores in the company over that time. Um, it's a really good thing being in the Raleigh market. Of course, we're growing and very busy. Clayton, uh, they have a great system, and the system is a juggernaut. And the thing is just grown and evolved. It continues to grow and evolve, and it's just been very fortunate for me to ride this as a career because it's been real good to me. I got into mobile homes kind of in a way. I had a mission idea. I had a mission statement called I wanted to build affordable homes that were pleasing because everybody deserves a home that wants to work for it. And that was kind of a way I got into housing. I started out working for a site builder in Austin, Texas, and then I went to work for a large multi-state dealer in Arkansas, who was then acquired by Fleetwood, and I became a general manager of a Fleetwood store in Kansas City, and then from there, I went to work for a private investor who did mobile home parks and communities in multiple states, and then that relocated me here to the Cary area, which is a suburb of Raleigh, and I've been here ever since. He sold that company to KB Homes, and I was here, just relocated my young family, and and found myself looking for a job. And this store had just Oakwood had just gone through bankruptcy, and Clayton had taken over all the Oakwood stores, and this was an Oakwood location. And at that time, I became the general manager of the store, and have been here ever since.
Great, great. That is amazing. A wealth of knowledge. You said 20 plus years. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
correct.
Wow. That speaks volumes, especially in the market that we're in and as mobile homes are evolving and growing. I'm glad you're in the position that you're in. I've been able to tap into the relationship with you, and I appreciate all the gems you drop to me when I make my visits to you. So I wanted to ask you, what are some trends and challenges you're currently seeing in our manufacturing home market?
Um, I think there's a lot of them. Of course, I was struck with a statistic I saw yesterday, just kind of reflecting back a little bit about the 20 years I've been here in Raleigh. And in 2004, the average household income in our area was $45,000, and the average house price was 189. In the last 20 years, that we've seen the average price increase to well over 535,000 for a new home in Wake County, but the average income, household income, has only risen to 65. So we've seen a dramatic increase in housing cost versus the income appreciation. So it's created this pain gap, and I'm seeing it on a daily basis. People are truly suffering with the burden of costs in general. Between the dramatic housing price rising, the inflation, the stuff that we're all paying for every day, it's gotten so much more expensive. So the original mission of building affordable housing has never been more pressing. And so I'm excited about the challenge. It is a challenge every single day. And I would say the biggest challenges right now that we're facing, like everyone, is how to find affordable locations to place the homes. I can build houses. Pretty much, we're on allocation, so we get a certain production limit based on what we produced last year, because the factories are running at capacity for the most part. But within that is, where do we put them? And that's the biggest challenge for us as home builders, is having good, clean, available sites that are affordable. Now, you can find unaffordable sites and produce unaffordable housing, but what we're after is affordable housing without government intervention, and that requires an affordable site. And that's been our challenge. That's what Danielle and I have been working on some, and I've been my times worrying about.
That is really interesting that you would say that, because that was actually my next question for you. Your statement was finding affordable locations. So, how does the location of the home impact the value?
Well,
If you could go
I
a
think,
little deeper with that.
yeah, I think in this market right now, if you can build something that people can't find any other way, you're going to have um, something that they want. And it doesn't really, I think what I've noticed with a lot of the people that I've been interacting with on the development side is people are willing to drive right now to save money. And that's something that's changed in the last, say, really, it's been a combination since COVID that's really made that change. I saw a sea change when people started being able to work from home. That changed the amount of driving they were willing to do, because if you only have to come into work 1 day or 2 days a week to the office, then maybe that 30-minute commute that was a must-have has now become an hour to an hour and 15 minutes, and that's okay because I've only got to do it once or twice a week. And so land that's further out than our tolerance before is now looks okay. It's something that we're willing to look at, where we weren't before because of that. The other thing that's changed dramatically the market for remotely, I would say, exurb land that's 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes away, has been Starlink. I think people underestimate those two and how they work together, because with Starlink now you have high-speed internet all across the United States at any location. And these remote workers require that. So now, when we used to really be scrambling to find internet access at the road, with at least DSL or whatever, the high speed phone cable. Now they can just do Starlink and they can be anywhere. They can be out in the middle of the swamp and they can have it as long as they get power to it. And so that's changed the game. That's changed the game for people's willingness to move further out. And that's what's, I think going to create some good opportunities for people like yourselves who are looking for houses that maybe the bigger companies that are still targeting more close in properties that aren't so far away, maybe properties that don't have as many locations or units or whatever. I think you should be able to pick up business further out in the smaller communities because people are willing to go there now.
Right, right. And that is helpful also because in our immediate area, we're beginning to see a lot of parks
Mm-hmm.
shut down.
Yeah, that's right.
And the properties are available in the outlying counties of the
Yeah.
Raleigh-Durham area.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're seeing around here. But sometimes folks have misconceptions. What are some misconceptions about mobile homes that you'd like to address?
Well, I think you really, when you say the term mobile home, I think it's an outdated term. Prior to 1974, when the HUD code was enacted, it was really the Wild West, and a lot of people's perceptions of what manufactured housing is were were made during that time when they go see their old grandma's trailer, and it was built by the lowest possible cost provider, and they had in the early days, there were the cardinal sins, I call them, of manufactured homes, which were first generation press wood, um, zero or very little insulation, paneled walls that were very, uh, they're horrible because when they caught fire, the place would burn so quickly, and aluminum wiring, which of course those two went hand in hand. So aluminum wiring, when it wasn't properly connected, would arc. That would cause fires. The houses were made out of paneling. They would burn very quickly. And there's a lot of tragedies that happened because of that. And then the final one would have been the first and second generation of polybutane pipe, which was very terrible because it would split when it aged and it would leak. And so all these things kind of all worked in concert in the early generation of these houses to create the perception that the quality just was not good and they weren't safe and they were not well built. But that was 8 or 9 revisions of the HUD building code ago, and we're in 2024. So I think most people, if you dig into their heads and you ask them what is a mobile home, you're going to find an image that probably was created from something that was made in the 60s, 70s, or 80s, maybe as late as the early 90s, but not so much what we're making today. So, and I think we've done a lot. Our company has done a lot to overcome that perception by the marketing they've done. We've shown tremendously the way the houses are built on the inside and what they look like, and with the updated materials and the looks. I think people are we've gone a long way to dispelling that. But I think when you speak of our houses, you need to say manufactured homes or factory assisted building or factory built homes or whatever you want to call it, but not mobile home, because that's an old term and it's really not relevant today. That's my take on it.
I appreciate that because not everybody knows the differences. Um, Everybody wants to say mobile home or trailer, and trailer even predates mobile homes. There were trailers, then mobile homes, but now we're in, like you said, the manufacturing, factory built homes. So thank you for that clarification. But I want to take you now even deeper to what you said. What are the differences between a manufactured single wide, double wide, and a modular home?
Well, that's a really good question. And it is in of itself, the fact that you're asked that question, one of the perception issues that we have, because we do not do as good of a job maybe as communicating those differences as we should. Um, I like to think of it as, you know, basically they're all houses, and they're just, some are built more efficiently and some are more designed for the aesthetics and the look and the lifestyle. And as you go up on aesthetics, look, and lifestyle, you're going to kind of come up with price. So you have to decide, where are you participating in the price spectrum in order to know what's the very best solution for that individual customer. But as far as the differences, they're really not a whole lot when you're in the HUD building code. You know, a manufactured home, whether it be a single wide, a double wide, even they still build triple wides in some places, is just a HUD code factory constructed house, which is much of the production brought indoors as possible to create efficiency. Because when you're building scattered site construction, which is technically what we are, we're technically a scattered site builder, where we build one house over here and one house over there and one house over here and one house over there. And when you do that, it's very difficult to be efficient. So what the factory does is create that efficiency, like a site builder does with a neighborhood. They build a neighborhood, they're going to start 10 houses. Well, 10 of those houses are going to get built. Then they're going to start 10 more the next month and 10 more the next month. And they create a little factory. So the plumber has a problem on lot 52. He can jump off of lot 54, slide over to lot 52, fix the problem, go back to his work at lot 54, and it only took him a few minutes. But if you're driving 30 minutes to an hour away, you lost half a day going from lot 52 to lot 54. So that's where scattered site construction has some unique challenges that are very effectively dealt with by using the factory. I think one of the ways that I always describe it to customers is, because a lot of people ask about modular versus manufactured, and I think the easy way to explain it is really where the rubber hits the road. And where the rubber hits the road is in the appraisal value. All right. And the appraisal value is determined by the comps. With a manufactured home, your comps are going to be other manufactured homes. With a modular home, your comps are going to get to be site-built houses. And the reason is because with a manufactured home, inside the appraisal rules, they say if this was the title that came with the house, let's say, that if that house got a title from the DMV, even if you canceled it, if it originally was made with this, then you're going to have to compare it to other houses that have titles, which means other manufactured homes. But if it's a modular, it doesn't get a title. So the only way to finance it in most cases is to combine it with the land. So you take the house and the land and all the improvements, and you've turned it into real estate. And so now the appraisal guidelines say I can appraise that house as a North Carolina residential building code house or a site-built house. And when you do that, you're going to gain some appraisal value because the comps are better. Now that's compressed a lot in the last 3 years. We've seen tremendous price compression between manufactured housing and modular housing and site-built housing.
Why is that? Why is that?
That is because of need. Because people's need are driving them past their preconceptions. Because what they're finding is, I am hurting so bad, I don't care what Mr. and Mrs. Jones thinks about my house. I care that I have a house, or I care that I can pay for my house and feed my kids. And that need is driving people to go outside their normal perceptions and find solutions. And that's where they're finding us. And so it's never been greater since I've been here. And in that sense, it's literally as many houses as we can build and produce, we're going to be able to have people to have them and live in them because the need is so great.
I love it, Robert.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So you mentioned land home package. A lot of people, a lot of our listeners don't know what that is. So could you explain what a land home package is for our listeners who may not be familiar with that term?
It's basically just a piece of real estate. You've taken a house and you've combined it with land and improvements and turned it into a home. And now you sell it like real estate. You just sell it as a package, as a complete turnkey solution for the customer. And all houses are sold that way. We use that term because we have the unique ability to provide a home without land and finance that home without land. And that's something unique to the manufactured home, community, because you don't ever think of a site builder saying, "Oh yeah, I'll sell you that house and just go ahead and park it over here, and then you put it where you want." It's like it just doesn't. It's not something that people think about. So, but with us, you can, because of that title. Again, that title is a lien instrument that allows us to place a loan and on a building as opposed to on a piece of real estate. So as long as the building has a title, then you can lien it and you can put a loan on it. And that's really the key to it, is the title. So, it's just it creates opportunities to solve problems for people that they don't have otherwise. As an example, I had a customer come in and they have a piece of family land that they have access to. They have rights to put a home there, but they can't get title to the land because it's all tied up with multi-generational, issues, that they're never going to resolve. They're never going to get agreement from 32 different relatives, but they have the legal right to live there. And so a manufactured home provides a solution for that, because if they can get a well and septic in the ground and placed, cleared out to put the house, we can bring the house out there and finance it for them. So that gives them the chance to live on that
Robert,
property.
are you guys handling the well and septic setup for them too?
No, that's something that they would have to pay out of pocket. That's a good question. Usually when you do, that's called a chattel loan, which is a loan on the title itself. You're not really putting money into the ground. You're putting money into the delivery and the setup of the house. The money that goes into the ground is usually something they're going to have to provide, because that money is going to be lost. There's no way to repossess that. You can't repossess a well or a septic tank. Correct. So you're not going to give a loan on that.
So
if
somebody come with a piece of land, it's basically like, hey, as long as you got everything we need to set the house up, or is it like, well, as long as you got the land for us to park it there, you can take your time and get whatever set up on it or whatever anyway, right? So do they have to have it already ready, or is that something they could do in the future?
Well, you as a dealer, our license requires us to provide the solution where they can use the house. So there are times that people working with investors or whatever will provide a home without all the things being finished. But for the most part, to do our business correctly, you need to have a house turn into a home. You can't turn it into a home if you don't have water and sewer and electric.
As far as connecting it to that land, like you were saying, connecting it, do you guys provide that service whenever you set it up? With the setup, is the setup process with you guys permitting the house to the land to where they can get those comps, like how you were saying, as a site build?
Well, our traditional business really is three parts. We have people that come to us who have their land and they want us to have a affordable home put on their land, right? And so they want us to bring a home and set it up and do everything required to that land and home together so that they can move in and live there. That's one category of people. The other is someone who comes to us that says, hey, I want a home, but I don't really have a place to put it. And I wouldn't mind living in a community because I want to live as affordably as possible. So that's our traditional single wide in a park, where the park owner provides the utilities and the spot and the roads and everything. And for a small fee, they'll allow that customer to live there. And then that customer pays the bank for the home and pays the landowner for the lot lease. And then the final customers that we get are people that come to us for a complete turnkey solution where they don't have land, but they want us to assemble a house and land package. That's what, Danielle was talking about, either the land home package. And it's really in here in our market, it's about a third, a third, and a third. So I got about a third of our businesses putting people in parks, about a third of people are people that come to us with their land, and we got a third of the people that need land. And the part that we're struggling with is the parks and the people that need land. So that's 2/3 of my business I'm struggling with because we can't find affordable land. They haven't allowed them to build any new communities here in Raleigh since the 80s. So the communities like Daniel was talking about have been bought out and redeveloped, and then or they're completely full. So that's the challenge here.
Nice. And what? Oh, I'm sorry. I go crazy. I'll wait for you to keep on that. There you go, Miss.
You could go ahead, Brad.
What's the typical credit score that you're looking for in DTI that you're looking for someone to get pre-approved with you guys? I know you probably saw plenty of applications. I know we can't get too specifics when we talking about credit and deposits, but what are you tip like? What is somebody you can literally, if I came in to come see you, Robert, and I told you that my credit was this, and I told you that I work this and I make about this, what would give you the green light in your head before I even apply to know that this person will be leaving with something? And I know it's going to depend on those three options that you gave me too. I realize that too. But maybe you could kind of put my question into a answer. If I need to go in any deeper, let me know.
No, you're fine. When it comes to credit, we really start to have options based on the number versus the down payment, right? So if somebody has, say they walk in here and they have a 550 score, but they've got 20 or 30% to put down, and they're willing to keep it affordable, go in a community, buy one of our more affordable homes. So they're buying a house, maybe that turnkey set up for 90,000 and they're putting, 30 grand down. Even though they got a 560 or 570 credit score, we're probably going to get an approval on that. Now, if they come in here with a 550, 560, and they don't have any down payment, they're probably not, because it's really, risk is based on, to some degree, credit. And so when the bank is trying to balance the risk versus the reward scenario, they're going to look at the down payment, they're going to look at their job and everything on their application, and they're going to look at their credit, and they're going to come up with a call based on that. But we don't turn down anyone from filling in an application. First of all, it's against the SAFE Act, and second of all, we just don't, because you never know. And truly, with Vanderbilt and 21st Century Mortgage, which is the other side of our bank that you guys might be more familiar with, they have this deep intelligence based on their application. So it goes all the way back into the 1950s when the company started, and they'll look at that score internally. So they'll take every piece of that application. So when they fill it in, we tell them fill it in 100% completely. Don't leave anything blank. Do everything to the best of your knowledge, and give them all the information, because the more complete that application is, the higher it's going to create an internal score. We also tell them to put as much money down as you possibly can. You can always ask for less down, but you're not going to always get it. But if you don't put it down up front, when they go to generate that internal score, it's going to be less likely you'll pull an approval. So if they do those two things, you're going to have your best chance. And I always tell people, it's worth finding out with Vanderbilt or with 21st Century Mortgage, because if there's a way, they're going to find it. If you give them the tools to get it, they'll get it for you.
Love it. All right, you can roll, Miss Ruffin. I ain't rattled that brain yet, Robert. It's on the way.
It's on the way. All right. So this is my last question for you, Robert. What opportunities exist for us manufactured mobile home investors to be able to partner with the manufactured home dealers? What opportunities are out there for us to be able to partner?
Well, there's a lot of different ways that you could work with us. Probably the if you go back to the understanding of our business here, 1/3's park, 1/3 are people with land, and the other third is people that need land. So 2/3 of our business are about spaces. Where are we going to place the house? So if you became an expert at finding and facilitating spaces to put homes, that is a low upfront investment, because it's really just time, energy, and effort, right? And then we've got all the money. We've got plenty. I'm saying we're a division of Berkshire Hathaway, so we don't have a money or capital issue, but we still are held to a very, very tight standard on how it's deployed. So they make it very difficult on us. The more inventory we carry, the more stuff we books, the more we have to turn, and the more we have to sell. So we're always trying to find that balance point where we bring our costs down as far as what we have on the books for carrying, and we increase our sales. So if you provide a way for us to sell something that we don't have to carry, then that's going to open a door. So in other words, if you could convince a park owner that you want to, put brand new homes in there, and could he work with you exclusively on the marketing of them? And then you can come back to us and say, hey, I've got this community I'd like to fill with Clayton homes. I don't have the resources to purchase the homes outright, but I do have the ability to find customers that do. And you put those two together, those are going to be incremental business opportunities for us that don't cost us any carrying, right? So once that approved customer comes through and we get them approved, then we can roll the deal, and you could have your part in that, whatever we decide, that is. It's kind of like when people assign contracts or whatever. I think there's a way to do that, even if you just have the lending. I can see where you could come to us with a letter of credit and lending, option that you don't even deploy. You just say, look, when you're done with this, I'm going to pay you cash, or my buyer's going to pay for it. One of the two. You get the buyer on the books for it, and then you've got your backup plan that says if that buyer fell apart and I was able to provide someone new in 30 days, I'll pay you for the house, right? If you had that ability, then without ever deploying your capital, you could probably enter into some type of wholesale arrangement with us at the dealer level and say, I'm going to do this is how I'm going to do it. I found a space. I'm going to get the permits. I'm going to order the house from you. I need a really good price on it because I'm going to resell it, and assign it basically before it's finished. And then if I'm unsuccessful at that, then I'll pay you off. So I'll buy the house. And if you had a letter of credit or some type of loan option to do that, then you could basically flip houses without ever owning, because it takes us 4 to 6 months to order and deploy a home. That means that gives you 4 to 6 months to market it if you find me a spot, right? And I could wholesale that house to you, and you could reassign it at retail and make a good commission over and above what a normal realtor would make, because you're doing all the work. But for me, it's just a chance to order the house and get a new sale, right? And that's what I want. And I can do that all over the country. You guys had the right scenarios, and I knew I was safe. I'll drop ship a house anywhere. Anywhere I can get one, I'll send it to you. So as long as you can get it set up, and I've got a good person behind the deal that's, you know, doing the heavy lifting. You know, really at the dealer level, it's just it's paperwork, right? It's paperwork, and it's placing an order with the factory. It's using an allocation spot, which is important right now, but that's not usually the case. That allocation stuff is temporary. I think we're still in a bubble here. I think it's going to burst at some point. And you'll see about 100, maybe 125,000 per house come out of the market, and things will settle down, and then it'll get back to normal, which is we're looking for orders, and it's going to get to be hopefully a little bit more normal balance in demand and supply. But I don't know if that helps any. I'm just thinking out loud right now.
No, that was a great answer to me, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I got one question. Now I could be wrong here. Do Clayton Homes white label from another manufacturer, or do you actually have a manufacturing company that you guys are building from scratch?
Yeah, we have a division that's our home building division, and they own and operate 43 facilities throughout the United States. So we're building, each one of those facilities builds anywhere from 5 to 10 houses per day. This year we're going to build 58,000 homes.
Why does it take you 4 to 6 months?
Because when you order a house, it goes in line, basically. It gets on the escalator. And then it literally only takes them 3 production days to build, but it gets in line. And the sold houses to customers are the ones that go in line first. So I can be waiting for a display house 6 months, 9 months, if I want to put one on my lot right now, because the customers come first, and there's a big demand right now for the houses.
Any overstock?
Not usually. It's because everybody's waiting right now. So the other problem you run into is permitting, right? So permitting can take, depending on the county. I don't know where you guys are at. We get into more rural counties, it can go a little quicker, but right now it can take me in Wake County 6 months or longer to get a permit.
That's ridiculous.
It is. It really is.
Man, I got 20 million permit stories for you, Robert.
Yeah, they're out there.
You almost got to bring parting gifts every day. You can go check on them every day up there. They get something pushed through, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, the big money and the big projects get a lot of the attention right now, and the little guys just trying to get one building permit are kind of, there's not nearly as much resources devoted to that as there should be.
Makes super sense. Well, Ms. Ruffin, you want to open it up to the community?
That's right. So does
I'll
anyone
ask questions all day.
Yep. Does anyone have, besides Brad, any questions for Mr. Robert? Unmute yourself if you have any questions. This is your opportunity to get direct answers to any of your questions. I know I've spoken to a few people on here about land home packages. We have a realtor. You need to be asking your questions now.
I do want
You
to
asked, I was gonna say, you asked the question that I want. The last question you had was the question that I
I was just about to say, Danielle, you killed the question.
Yeah, that was the question.
You killed them. You asked like the top tier questions that could have been asked. But yeah, y'all open up now. We got Robert on here only for a little time, not a long one.
So I will actually ask this question, which I think would benefit one or two people on this call. You mentioned, Robert, about the demand for space. And that's a niche by itself. That requires, I guess, do you have any suggestions on how to find space?
You know, I know that there's people, because I've run into them before, that specialize in finding off-market land deals. And I think that's a great opportunity for people in your type of capacity, because if you can find a site that's affordable and marry it with a house that's affordable, then you've got a sale. There's going to be somebody that needs that, and it's going to make a good profit and still maintain the goal of building an affordable home. The key to an affordable home is an affordable home site. So as far as how to find those, I know I'm not an expert at that, but I know there are people that are, and I would just challenge you to search those out and find people that know how to find off-market properties, and dig into that, because that is the key to housing. I know you could assign those to us, right? You could, if you found an off-market property and it's in my market area and it's something that's in our, purview, and you say, hey, Robert, I got a spot that's zoned for a manufactured home. It's 30 minutes from Raleigh or 45 minutes from Raleigh. And, I got an assignment contract on it and I can sell it to you for $35,000, and maybe you got it for 30 or 28 or something. You don't even have to touch it. You just give it to us and we flip it, we'll buy it. As long as that person that is selling it doesn't mind waiting for us to do the due diligence to make sure it perks and we can get a house on it. You can flip those pretty much at will and once you find them. And they're out there. I know people do this all the time. There's a lot of vacant land out there that have tax, issues or have, title issues or just are owned by people that moved away and it just sits there. And so when you get that person on the phone and offer them a solution, I know that I've run into these people and they're getting them, and I see them all the time. So somehow they're finding them. I just don't know what the answer is on how.
Excellent.
I'm fired up. I am fired up. Fired up. I hope y'all are. I'm fired up.
I do have a question. Because I had a scenario where it was a family, they have land and they were looking for a space or a home. And Danielle asked the question, but I'm asking, I guess, like full-fledged scenario question. We went to a Clayton site, looked at some homes. I sent her a couple of videos or whatever. She had death in the family, so that kind of prolonging some things. However, based upon what you stated as far as they have a place, so for me, coming to a Clayton facility or what have you, or any facility, what have you, how would that work for me in the sense of how would I actually benefit from the sale?
I got it. I think you're going to have to kind of you're going to have to navigate that with the customer, I think, unless you're a licensed realtor. Now, there is a program we have recently come out with for licensed realtors where we'll pay a finder's fee of $2,500 for people that bring us people with land. The thing the thing that I was kind of encouraging to do is get control of the site. So if the customer already has a site, that's probably not going to be, unless you have a really good relationship with that customer or you're a licensed realtor. It's not, you can get a finder's fee. Maybe you can negotiate up to $1,000. I'm not sure. You have to talk to the individual home center in your area. But I think to make the money that you guys probably want to make every time you turn it, you would need to get that land that doesn't have a customer and get it under assignment contract where you're going to purchase it, and then assign that contract back over to us for the difference that you're looking for. You see what I'm saying? So if you can find a vacant piece of land and you can purchase it for a below market price, and then you can retail it to us at a market price that's fair, then I think that's where you can make some good profit and help us too. If that makes any sense.
Okay, I think so. So basically, let's say my family or I have inherited a piece of land, or what the hypothetical, and you have someone looking for a home, you would purchase it from me, the actual land, and place the home, or it'll be a combined package for the customer, correct? Am I understanding that correct?
You're understanding that correct. But there's a whole series of different ways based on your willingness and ability to roll up your arm and get into it, right? So if let's say you found a piece of land, like you just said, you inherited it, it's yours, and you're going to maximize return on that. So first thing is to look at, well, what could you sell, or just sell it, put it on Craigslist and sell it or whatever. But then you'd say, well, what if I bought a house from Clayton Homes and put it on there and I could sell it? Then what could I sell it for? And it may be possible in that scenario to act as a middleman, and you could put the deal together, advertise it on paper, and say this house on this property, and then bring that customer to us and say, I've got the piece of land, you got the house, I can sell it for this much, but I need you to provide it to me for this much. You see what I'm saying? And then you can get a good commission, because you're basically you're assigning the contract from us. You're assigning for the house and the land to the end user. I think that's a possibility. I'm not saying you can do it. I'm just saying that you need to find a local Clayton dealer that you can work with. And but you're going to have the spaces. You're going to have somewhere to put the houses before you really have something to talk to us about.
I have a question.
Sure.
If you have a piece of land, but it's not on public utility, so we would have to have the sewer and well, what's the smallest size land you deal with for the property?
It's a good question. It really is going to vary a lot. It's going to have to do with how that land perks, what kind of testing, the results are from the testing of the land to see what system's going to be required there. I put houses on land as little as a third of an acre with a well and septic, but we have to cut it down to a 2-bedroom, and the land perked really well. It had good soil consistency. But as a general rule, I would say set 3/4 of an acre to the full acre is a good size to get a well and septic on a property. Usually a 1/2 acre or so is okay if you got county water existing, and you can really go down to a third of an acre if you got county water. So between third and a half, and then I'd say 3/4 to an acre if you need well and septic, if that helps. As long as it perks. I mean, I've had 10-acre properties I couldn't put a house on because it doesn't perk. So
Gotcha. Appreciate it.
Yeah, things cannot perk.
All right. Does anybody else, because we don't want to hold him up from getting home because he's still in office. Does anyone have any last questions? If not, We appreciate you totally. I appreciate you for
To the
taking the
max,
time out.
to the max, man. Appreciate you.
You
A lot of
dropped a lot
insight.
of gems. I hope you all were hearing because he dropped them.
He just saved y'all a trip from going to your local dealer. He done told you how to get into the room. He just
Yep,
showed you right there.
yep, yep. So thank you,
Well,
Robert.
each location is going to have their own, scenarios, right? Some places aren't as land constrained as we are. So I would advise that, if you find someone that you can work with at the local store level, tell them what you're up to and ask them how you can help. How
Mhm.
can you help them? How can you work together to solve some of the challenges they're having and help? In some cases, it may be as simple as I'll go out there and book all the permits for you and get everything lined up and put the house out there on the land. I mean, you gotta figure it out. But there's a lot of opportunity. Space is unlimited opportunity back for housing space. Right? You just gotta put it all together for somebody.
Amen.
Thank you so much. You have a wonderful night. And will you be in the office tomorrow, by the way?
I will not. I'm actually going to training tomorrow.
Are you?
And next weekend's training, by the way, is how to find off market property.
Wow. Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Well, if I learn anything, I'll let you know.
Yeah, please do. Because I need
Okay.
some floor plans, but I'll wait till you get back.
Okay, sounds
All
great.
right.
It was
Have a
nice.
good one.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
All
Bye-bye.
right, Robert. First of all, great job, Danielle. Way to go. I really appreciate this guest. That was a real good guest. He definitely opened up some eyes. I did want to jump on Tamisha's situation. Now, of course, when we talking directly to the people that work there, it's gonna be a little different when you talking to us. All right. We're gonna have a little more wiggle room than what he can have for what he doing and how he moving, right? So I just want to let you be clear about that, about what the question you asked him. He answered that the perfect way that he supposed to. So, and I'm gonna leave that right there till our next get together. But you good. If they wanted to put that together, that's how it'll flow. Until the house is down, you kind of taking care of it, and for them, and they taking care of you. So, but yeah, man. Hey, I enjoyed this one. You can tell I enjoyed this one. I'm up. Like I done took a shot of coffee, but I'm ready to go out let them boys down the street. But I already did some work with some Clayton home people and did some working with them on the used side. I helped them sell a used home from Clayton Homes. And that's one thing they had a problem with was getting off the used home. So they called me and I'll get the used homes gone in a day or two. They didn't want to deal with the marketplace bull job. They just wanted to do what they do best. And that's the one thing about companies. The way I wrote it down, y'all, on my notes, as a tree. Every time he talked, I put the tree together on how it's all set together.
Mm-hmm.
When you're dealing with these big industry people, they have to move with requirements. That's how they move. So they're gonna stay on wanting to do what they do best. Like he said, he's gonna go do some training, but guess what? He still really want. He really want more people to be able to do that right there. He'd rather stay focused on what he know how to do. They running it like Henry Ford. Yeah. I do this, then I pass it on to the next person. That person do the same thing every day. That person do the same thing every day. So we kind of just got a little bit more wiggle room and a little wiggle more space with us being entrepreneurs and mobile homepreneurs. So man, great. I enjoyed it. So let's kind of do a little deep dive on where everybody at. Tamisha, I know it ain't the 15th yet. Was you able to get that those pictures that I reposted up there? Was that clear enough for you? Perfect. And we'll be ready for you next. I believe next weekend you can go and get started by next weekend. Yeah, it's about time to get going. Get out there. They ain't gonna be worried about nothing. they're gonna be ready to get a house or two off and see what's up with some evictions. Because by the 15th, they know who all gonna be gone next month. Miss Kim B, we got to get up on that training on the CRM. How you doing, by the way? You there? Miss Kim, you there? I think she tuned in, but tuned out. Miss Hicks, what you thought about that talk? I know you had a couple talks with people, but how you felt about everything today?
I thought it was great. And the fact that, I mean, he brought up a really important point, and I've kind of tried to say it with the financing thing, that you can make a deal happen, even if technically you shouldn't. Like working with a dealer, if you're not a licensed dealer, technically you really, aren't able to make money off of it. But if you get creative, you can. And it's all about that. You got to figure out, you can make money on any deal. You just have to think and think and think and talk to people and figure out how to make it work.
Yeah, he dropped some bombs out here today, for sure. For sure. And I think I really love the introduction you gave. That was amazing. And the questions you asked was so thought out. I could tell you did not just put these questions together. These were thought out questions. So I appreciate you, Danielle, for sure. Kim, what's up?
Hello, how's it going?
Did you get a chance to tune in, or you going to end up checking out the replay?
I'm gonna have to check out the replay because I kind of jumped in when it was late. But I do have a question. Maybe he covered this when, if we want to do a tour of a Clayton manufacturing facility, did anybody cover that?
Man,
I did not, but I'm working on that, Kim, because I have a Clayton manufacturer maybe about 45 minutes from where I live. So I'm actually going to be walking into that site next week to see how we can get a tour of the factory.
Yeah, we'll set a whole day up with everybody, and everybody, if anybody can meet out here, we'll do that for sure.
Okay, that sounds good. And then I
Mhm.
need to talk to you about getting my dealer's license because we just started down in North Carolina, and I need to talk to you about that offline.
Oh yeah, and yeah, man. Appreciate everybody just jumping on today. It was a great call. Replay will be up as soon as it's done converting. I have that thing wide open for you, ready to roll. And till then, if y'all want to jump on the call Tuesday, you already know you can, but we'll be right back in action next Thursday. And yeah, man, that was insightful right there. I love that one.
Thank you.
All right, Miss Ruffin, you want to close us out?
Everyone that was on the call, drop some gems on school. Let folks know to watch the replay so that they can also get the gems. I guess that's about it. I'm not sure what next Thursday's mastery is. I'm sure it's something good. It might be actually, I think Mark Anthony is next Thursday. So
Okay.
tune into that. And I appreciate you all.
All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you.